The moment Judge Edward Chen leaned forward, the entire courtroom froze. "Miss Bondi," he said, calm, cold, and composed. "This is a courtroom, not a campaign stage." Pam Bondi stopped mid-sentence. The confident smile disappeared. The energy she walked in with drained instantly. She had entered federal court expecting applause lines. What she received was a legal reckoning, one that would shadow her career from that day forward. This wasn't a hearing. It was a public correction. Before we unpack this stunning confrontation that left Washington reeling, drop a comment letting us know where you're watching from, and subscribe if you still believe facts matter more than theater. Because what unfolded in that courtroom changed the game. Pam Bondi came in ready to steamroll. As a fierce Trump ally and candidate for Attorney General, she was used to dominating on cable news, turning tough interviews into campaign moments and brushing off critics with volume and force. She thought court would be no different. She miscalculated. Facing Judge Chen, Bondi launched into her opening statement like she was at a political rally. The American people elected President Trump to protect this country. That means strong borders. That means bold action. That means... Judge Chen raised one hand. He didn't flinch. "Miss Bondi," he said calmly, "please cite the statute." She hesitated. "Excuse me?" "The statute," he repeated. "You are asking this court to uphold a policy with constitutional implications. I need the legal basis, not a campaign speech." For a second, Bondi stood in silence. Then she tried to pivot. "Your Honor, as I was saying, the people voted..." "Judge," Chen cut her off. "The people do not write case law. Congress does. This court is governed by the Constitution, not public approval." He didn't need to raise his voice. The tone alone shifted the entire room. Bondi's footing slipped. She looked down, rustled. Her notes. Her hands moved quickly. Too quickly. Then she pulled out her phone. "Your Honor, I have some references here." Chen leaned back, unfazed. "You intend to argue federal law from a phone?" The question hit harder than any critique. Bondi had no response, and it became clear. She hadn't come with legal arguments, only talking points, slogans, headlines. But none of that mattered now. Only the law did. And the law wasn't on her side. Judge Chen's gaze narrowed. "Miss Bondi, you are asking this court to grant legal authority. That requires citations, precedent, constitutional grounding. Do you have any of that today?" She tried again. "We believe executive power..." "Belief," he said firmly, "is not a legal standard. Authority is." The courtroom stayed silent. Bondi looked around, hoping for backup, for something, anything to soften the blow. But there were no cameras, no crowd, just a federal judge who saw through every layer. Then came the moment no one saw coming. Judge Chen leaned forward again. His voice remained steady, but it struck like a verdict. "You are not just unprepared," he said. "You are unqualified to make this argument in a federal courtroom." In that instant, Bondi realized this wouldn't be a victory, it would be a lesson, and it was only beginning. She blinked, once, twice, but silence held. Judge Chen said nothing more. Neither did anyone else because there was nothing left to add, except what he said next. "Let me be clear," Chen continued, tone now edged with steel. "When you stand before a federal court seeking validation of a policy, you do not bring slogans. You do not rely on popularity. You do not treat public sentiment as if it overrides the Constitution." Bondi's throat tightened. Her voice, when it came, was lower. "Your Honor, I understand your frustration, but I believe the administration is operating within its executive authority." Chen stared at her. "Then explain how." Bondi flipped through papers looking for footing. "There's precedent," she said, "set under Obama, and also during the Bush administration, for executive action on immigration enforcement." Chen didn't move. "Name the case." She froze. Name one, he said again. A single precedent where executive power overrides statutory immigration protections. She opened her mouth. Nothing. Then came the line. Miss Bondi, Judge Chen said, composed, in this court, we do not argue from memory, we argue from law. It hit harder than if he'd shouted. Because he didn't have to. He held all the authority, and everyone in that courtroom knew it. She tried once more. We believe this is about protecting American sovereignty. Chen tilted his head slightly. You are confusing belief with jurisdiction. This court does not validate political opinions. It determines what is lawful. Bondi's jaw tightened. Her fingers gripped the pages in front of her. With all due respect, Your Honor, he interrupted again. Calm. Precise. You've said that twice. Respect is not earned through repetition. It's earned through preparation. It landed. Clean. Quiet. Even the opposing counsel didn't smirk. They didn't need to. The judge was doing the heavy lifting. Bondi's breathing grew shallow. The certainty she arrived with had morphed into something sharper. Panic. Judge Chen continued, voice measured but decisive. Let me remind you, your presence here is not a privilege of office. It is a legal obligation, and the standard you must meet is not popularity, it is constitutionality. Then came the final question. Miss Bondi, he said, locking eyes with her, did you prepare a single constitutional argument before entering this courtroom? The silence was her answer. She opened her mouth, closed it again. He waited 5 seconds. Then, finally. No further questions. He turned his gaze back to the bench, signaling the moment had passed. But it hadn't. Not really, because the damage was done. Permanent Pam Bondi had come to prosecute a case, but she'd ended up being the one on trial, and she was losing. Judge Chen never raised his voice. He didn't need to. He simply turned the page on his docket and said, almost casually, let's proceed. But everyone in that courtroom knew. They had just witnessed a blow so clean, so decisive, it didn't need a replay. Pam Bondi's entire strategy, whatever plan she walked in with, was coming apart faster than even her harshest critics could have predicted.